What's up, guys? It's Friday. We're gonna have an intimate conversation down on the floor in my library. All right, so down here, I'm on the floor. I'm down here for a specific purpose. So one of the cool things I did this year was I put my carpet up here on the front because I wanted a space for us to learn as a class. Over here, I'm gonna move this. Over here you have my whiteboard and my projector, and my document camera just shines right over there. All my kids, when they come into my room, they come in and they sit down and they have their journals and they're writing down our standard for the day and break it down. Class starts, it takes about a minute really to get everything going. Probably less, especially once that bell rings, because they're so used to it by now. So that's primarily the main reason of this rug area. But what's happened is kids love to come up here and work, specifically when they're reading or writing. One of my favorite things to do is I'm conferencing, right? So once my mini lesson's done, I'm out here conferencing with kids about their reading and what they're writing. My classes are split in two, so we kind of read in the beginning and write in the afternoon. Now they intermingle and they go back and forth all the time, so there's nothing that's ever directly just that. But while that's happening, I'm walking around, I'm conferencing, I'm talking about their reading, I'm talking about their writing, I'm spurring them on, I'm asking them tons of questions to get their brains thinking, connecting our mini lesson to their work in reading and writing. And what I love so much is that conference time is the best time for me, because that's when my best teaching is going on. You know, sitting at a desk with a kid, and when I pull up a chair and we just discuss their writing and have an honest conversation. And I always tell them, I'm approaching you as a reader if I'm looking at your writing. I'm approaching you as a fellow reader if we're talking about reading. And the reason is because I want to receive their stuff. Donald Graves talks about receiving a kid's piece of writing before we ever talk about anything. My goal is to take their information, take what they're doing, and then give them the proper prompts to get them to where they need to be. Perfect example. In my conferences, I saw my kids, their dialogue was all over the place. You know, dialogue is so useful. It's fantastic to use dialogue when you're writing arguments. It's great for fiction, obviously. You can use dialogue in poetry. You can use it all over the place. So it's not just a fiction-focused thing. I saw that they weren't punctuating correctly. They're just putting people talking all in, like, you know, one big paragraph and all this other stuff. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna do a mini lesson the next day on how to punctuate dialogue. We did it, we broke it down, we discussed why you do certain things when you're writing. And then when I went in conference today, I was walking around and tons of kids were saying that they went back and they fixed some dialogue in something, or they started something new with proper dialogue punctuation and stuff like that. So part of my job when I'm conferencing is I wanna see that transfer. I wanna see that my mini lessons are transferring. Now, it doesn't transfer every day because they might not write dialogue that day, but I want to see that evidence. I want to see that what I'm doing is transferring over. And if it's not, we got to figure out why. Did they understand it? Did my lesson not stick? Have I not cycled it back in a while? And then you slowly move kids in their own writing, not giving them prompts. You don't sit there and grab their journal and mark up all their commas or words that aren't capitalized or any of that stuff. I'm not criticizing this stuff. I'm guiding them through that. Because there is a time and a place for revision. There's a time and a place for editing. But we're 3 weeks into our workshop. I'm trying to get my kids to love the process of reading and writing, because that love is going to be used when I transfer it into better stuff, and it already has. In our brief formative assessments was, I asked them 3 main questions. I said, what have you written that you're most proud of and why? Show me evidence of using any of our mini lessons in your writing. And then 3, how have you grown as a writer in the last 3 weeks? Every single one of my kids were able to speak to those, except for the kids who are struggling somewhere. And now I have a small list of kids that I need to focus on really in the next 3 weeks to kind of make sure that I gain them. That's finding gaps. That's moving kids, and I love it. But the reason I'm down on the floor is because a lot of those conferences happen on the floor. When I sit down with them and I'm sitting on the floor and we're sitting among literature and we're sitting with bean bags and pillows, what I'm telling them is this isn't just school. This is us being human beings with reading and writing. These are our words. This is us growing from each other. This is us moving in our thinking and in our processing of the world. Literacy is more than understanding great books. Literacy is being able to control the way you speak to get what you want in life, whether that's to be a famous YouTuber or a famous Instagrammer or be a business person or work in construction. Anywhere you want to be in life, you have to know how to present yourself to get there. So a part of my job is to remind them that this is less about school and more about actualizing our purpose. This is less about school and more about learning how to control the things that are most important, which is how we present ourselves to the world, the words we use, and the purpose that we use for our messages to get what we want in life. I sit down with a kid, I tell them I'm a learner with you. When I don't grab their paper from them, I let them offer it to me. I'm telling them I respect their ownership. I don't control their words. I do not own what they want to say about the world or themselves. I don't own any of that. They own it. I want them to offer it. I want them to get confident enough to offer it to me. And then once they do, then I can receive it. And once I receive it, I can tell them how I'm responding to it. And we can talk about how not paragraphing correctly is going to affect how I'm going to respond to it. And they can understand that because they want to own their words. If they're writing, they want to make that connection. It's not, you have to paragraph like this. You have to use this proper grammar. It's, you want to do these things because it's going to help me receive your piece better and other audiences. But once you make that connection and you convince them that there's not this critical path, that we're human beings and we're learning together and we're a community, that's when that movement starts. And this process is something that I'm just so fascinated. I was fascinated by it today. This is why I'm talking about it on camera. I'm not talking about it because I think I'm some guru of workshop. I'm talking about it because I'm a fan of workshop. I'm a fan of giving my kids choices, of letting them choose their books and choose their writing and guiding them through that, because I'm a fan of teaching human beings, not curriculum. Now, I love the curriculum. I actually wrote the curriculum we're using right now. So this isn't anti-curriculum. This is not anti-standards-based things. It's using those as your foundation to let humans be humans, using those things to guide my actual practices, to let my kids be kids and experience using word choice and experience with different genres and choose what they want to do these things, because believe it or not, kids will choose the right things for them. Now, of course, you're going to have kids who will just choose the same thing over and over again in those things, and that's when a teacher's guidance will step in. But I have to build those relationships first. I have to convince them I'm here with them, not here to control them. I'm learning as much as they are every single day. You know, the old adage is true that the teacher learns more from the students than the students learn from the teacher. It's absolutely true. I learned so much about being human by reading my students' writing, listening to them speak about their reading, because that informs every decision I make in my classroom, is having those great conversations. And most of those happen right here on the floor in my classroom library.